Welcome to American Reacts. In this video, we're going to be reacting to reason why everyone is afraid of the U.S. Let's find out. Let's get into it.
There's a reason no country wants war with the U.S. The U.S. mainland hasn't been attacked in over 80 years. Enemies...
Well, I don't know, 9/11 was 25 years ago. I know it wasn't to the scale of the Japanese attacking Pearl Harbor, but it was still an attack.
always threaten, but never act. The U.S. spends nearly $1 trillion a year preparing for wars it hopes never happen. So if a country ever thought, yeah, we can take the U.S., here's the truth. That would be the last mistake they ever make. People know the U.S. Army is big, but big doesn't explain it. The U.S. military isn't just soldiers. It's soldiers plus the entire machine behind them. That's why the U.S. doesn't just fight, it keeps fighting without collapsing. Some countries take days to move serious forces. The U.S. can start moving fast response units in hours.
We've also been investing in this since after World War I, World War II. I think our officials at the time saw the devastation of large-scale world wars, and that's why we started investing heavily into it. And now we have an entire network spanning across our entire continent and lots of bases over in Europe and in the South China Sea and the Pacific.
Then comes the hardware. The M1 Abrams isn't just a tank. It's a rolling bunker with a cannon.
If I'm not mistaken, I believe the Abrams is a defensive tank, whereas like the Russian T-72s or T whatever the hells are offensive tanks.
It's built to...
Let me know in the comments if I'm correct on that. Like I said, I don't know a whole lot about this stuff. I just know I feel like what basic everyday average Americans would know, and I'm always willing to learn. And this channel is to kind of speak on that stuff, have a good time, watch these videos, but we can also expand upon this in the comments below.
survive hits that would erase other vehicles. And it's been upgraded again and again so it doesn't fall behind. But tanks aren't the scary part. The scary part is what follows behind them: artillery. The M109 Paladin looks like a tank, but it's basically a mobile, long-range fist. The US military has weapons that's designed for non-stop pressure: machine guns, grenades, night vision. This is what makes ground combat against the US feel
Day or night, the pressure continues.
unfair. It's not one weapon, it's the entire system. And this is only the ground.
Not looking for fairness. I'd rather have the better technology and the upper hand, because, you know, when you're in a war, the other side's trying to kill you, and why would you want to be fair? You don't want to be brutal, you don't want to brutalize, but fairness? No.
Because if the enemy looks up, it gets worse. A lot of countries have air forces. The US has an air force that feels like a different category. The American fleet is massive. Thousands of aircraft, jets.
And I'm up here in Alaska. We have two massive Air Force bases. I remember driving by Eielson Air Force Base 2 summers ago, and they had F-35s lined up on the tarmac, and it was pretty cool to see, honestly. And down where I'm at in Anchorage, there's an Air Force base nearby, and you'll often see F-35s and F-22s running drills, flying straight up out of the airfield, looping around, coming back down, C-17s flying around. And from what I understand, they call the C-17 a turkey.
Bombers, tankers, helicopters. But again, numbers aren't even the main threat. The main threat is quality plus coordination. Take stealth aircraft. The F-22 isn't famous because it looks cool. It's famous because it was designed to win fights before the enemy even understands the fight started. It's fast, it's hard to detect, it hits first, and it leaves. Then there's the F-35. This isn't just a jet, it's a flying sensor network. And then comes the nightmare
And we don't even sell the F-22s to other countries.
plane.
Again, we want the advantage. Why would we sell an F-22 and create an even playing field when we can keep them ourselves and have that advantage?
The B-2 stealth bomber. This thing was built to slip through air defenses that were meant to stop everything. It can travel absurd distances, strike targets, and disappear into the sky like it was never there. So if someone's plan is, we'll fight the US in the air, that's not a plan. That's volunteering. And even if they somehow survive the sky, they still have to deal with the ocean. Most navies protect coastlines. The US Navy controls oceans. It has aircraft carriers that aren't ships. They're floating air bases. And carriers don't travel alone. They move with a full strike group, destroyers, submarines, support ships, and thousands of personnel.
That and our aircraft carriers are nuclear powered, so they don't have to refuel. They can be out there for weeks at a time, whereas from what I understand, I think every other country still has diesel powered aircraft carriers. They can only be out for so long before they have to put liquid fuel back in that thing. The only thing that is worrisome to me is China does have the manufacturing capability to just keep pumping things out, and they have 1.4 billion people in the country, so quite a bit more than we do in the U.S. 4 or 5 times more. So they may not have as good a quality. We don't know their coordination. We haven't seen really a large-scale war from China in a long time. I think the last time they really had any conflict was a civil war, when they pushed the Republic off to Taiwan, where they're still at today. So, we'll see. I think eventually we'll end up going to war with China, mainly because we're building defenses in the Philippines, we're fortifying Japan. Japan is changing their wartime doctrine to be more offensive rather than defensive. And the same way we saw the Russians build their defenses up on the Ukrainian border, the U.S. and China are not redefining, refortifying, rearming their militaries for no reason. We do not build for military bases in the Philippines for no reason. That and China has said they will take Taiwan one way or another. So it's only a matter of time, and we will see what really happens.
So when a US carrier group shows up near a region, the message is simple. We are here, and you can't ignore us. But the real fear isn't the carrier you can see. It's the submarine you can't.
I had a friend that I worked with a few years back, and he was a Navy vet, and he talked about how they would be out there on the aircraft carriers and pass Chinese ships all the time. They'd pass each other, and everyone would look at each other. Everyone would get to their stations and kind of look at each other and flex as they went by.
Ohio-class...
Not actually flex, but, get ready, flex your power, show that you're ready to go.
Nuclear submarines are designed to stay hidden and loaded with enough firepower to change the map. Submarines are the reason enemies can't relax, because you can't negotiate with what you can't find. So the US can dominate land, it can dominate the air, and it can dominate the sea. But then comes the weapon that doesn't care about borders at all. If a weapon can reach you from across the Earth, your geography stops protecting you. ICBMs are built for one purpose: distance.
Intercontinental ballistic missiles, meaning, like international would be across the country. Intercontinental would be across the continents. Fire a missile over to this continent. You can fire a missile to this continent. Over here. And that's what an intercontinental ballistic missile is. On top, you can put a nuclear warhead, or you could put just an average kinetic bomb. It all depends on what you want to put on there. The rocket is just a delivery system.
Some can fly thousands of miles, meaning the US can strike targets far beyond its shores without moving a single soldier. And the scary part is not just range, it's readiness. Missiles are placed where they're hard to hit all at once, spread out, protected, guarded, designed to survive and respond. But missiles aren't just nuclear. America has conventional missiles too: precision strikes, long-range targeting, satellite guidance. And that leads to the next layer, because the US isn't only powerful, it's over-prepared. Nobody wants nuclear war, because nuclear war doesn't have winners. It has survivors who wish they didn't survive. The US has thousands of nuclear weapons in its arsenal, not all deployed, not all active, but enough to make the point. and it doesn't rely on one launch method. So even if one part gets hit, the others remain. This is why direct war with the US is rare, because if it escalates too far, it becomes uncontrollable. But here's what people forget. The US doesn't even need nukes to erase key targets, because it also built weapons made for the underground. Some countries build bunkers and think they're safe. Deep facilities, mountain tunnels, underground command rooms. That works until the US shows up with bunker-busting weapons. There are massive blast weapons designed to wipe out large areas, caves, and fortified zones. And if that's terrifying with pilots, wait until you hear what happens when the pilot isn't even there.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure how the bunker buster works, but I do know it can penetrate deep within the earth. And, well, I think recently we saw that Iran found that out. So, I know that we, definitely, I believe it was after World War II, saw the reason to have missiles that can penetrate deeply, just because of how fortified bunker positions were so hard to advance on and take over.
Drones changed war, because drones don't need rest. They can watch a target for hours and strike in seconds. The US operates huge numbers of unmanned systems. Some are built for surveillance, some for attacks, some for both. The scary part is endurance. The more advanced the drone, the less warning the enemy gets. Drones also reduce risk for the attacker. You can project power without losing pilots. But machines...
And these drones, they just fly like regular planes. Obviously you can load them up with warheads and missiles and stuff like that, but they just fly like regular planes. The loyal wingmen that are supposed to assist the F-47 sixth generation fighter jet, they're legitimate jets that are powered by AI. So if I'm correct, like AI is a learning thing. The more you fly them, the more they learn, the better they get. And since there's nobody in the jet, you save weight, and you save space by not putting a cockpit in, which allows you to put more weight and use that saved space for other things. Not only that, is these AI-powered jets can pull more Gs and stay in the sky more so than like a man-flown jet, because if you pull enough Gs, you'll pass out. So, from what I understand, the F-47 is supposed to have the pilot sitting in there, and he's the one that operates and controls the loyal wingmen who can do extremely risky maneuvers and, blow up, basically, making sure that the mission is complete. Whereas, man-powered jets usually will avoid risky maneuvers to save the life of the pilot. When there's nobody in the jet, we don't have to worry about losing the life of a pilot.
Risk for the attacker. You can project power without losing pilots. But machines still aren't the most dangerous weapon America has. The most dangerous weapon is the people trained to do what machines can't. The US trains soldiers hard, but its special forces training is a different kind of brutal. Units like Navy SEALs are designed to operate anywhere. Their training is meant to break weak people early, so only the most durable stay. And it's not just physical, it's mental. Because in real war, the weapon isn't always the key. Decision-making is. The ability to move when it's confusing, to act when it's loud, to stay calm when it's deadly. That's what elite units are built for.
Must thrive in adversity.
But training is only half the advantage. The other half is experience. Some militaries look scary on paper, but paper doesn't bleed. The US military has been tested in real conflicts for decades. Different regions, different enemies. That creates something you can't fake. Institutional memory. It learns what works. It learns...
And this circles back to China. I mean, like I said, the last, real conflict they were in, as far as I know, is the Civil War that they had. And that was against their own people. So, with a country like the U.S. having operations done all over the world in the last, 80 years, we've really tested a lot of capabilities when it comes to our technology. Not only that, there's all the different biomes that we have in the U.S. We've got everything from deserts to swamps to just regular woodland areas to mountainous areas and to even more mountainous areas in Alaska and Arctic temperatures to test everything. So, even when it comes to the testing, we've got a wide range of areas we could just test, let alone actually put it into action.
What fails, it adapts. And beyond active duty, the U.S. has millions of veterans, people who've seen real operations.
And not only veterans, I know a lot of people who've never even served that can operate a firearm better than a veteran. You get a guy that's really into firearms, he'll talk circles all day around any veteran that just went in and served their 4 years to get their benefits. So, not only do we have the 15.8 million veterans that this video is claiming, me personally, I don't know the number, but we also have millions upon millions of citizens who have stockpiled lots of ammo. My friend's dad has thousands of rounds of 5.56. He's never served, and that's one guy. And that's a Mickey Mouse collection there. There's people with thousands, hundreds of thousands of rounds, citizens of this country. So there's a lot. With over 400 million guns and about 340 million people. We have a lot more guns than we even have people in this country.
People who know how war behaves when plans collapse. So when threats show up, new or old, America doesn't start from zero. It starts from experience. And that brings us to the last reason. The reason that scares every enemy the most. The scariest part of U.S. power isn't what you can name, it's what you can't. Every year, huge budgets go into research, testing, and development. Not for parades, for the next generation of advantage. That means stealth gets better, sensors get sharper, missiles get smarter.
You want to stay on the bleeding edge of that technology, you want to keep the advantage, you don't want to be fair when it comes to fighting, you want to win. You don't want to brutalize, but you don't want to be fair.
And the public will only hear about a fraction of it, because in war, surprise is a weapon. So even if an enemy studies America's military, they're studying the visible part, not the full iceberg. And you never want to hit an iceberg. The answer can be, they can try, but they'd be fighting. A ground force that moves fast and hits hard. A navy that reaches any coastline on Earth. Drones that watch forever. Special forces that don't quit. A military that has real experience. Because with the US, the fight doesn't start when you shoot. It starts when America decides.
And knowing all this, I absolutely love it when other people underestimate the drive of the American spirit, the raw power of our technology, and the experience that we've had with all of this combined. Like I said, we've got countries we've got bases all over Europe. No other country in the world has military bases scattered around like we do. I think the closest is China and or Russia, but China is very energy dependent, and Russia, well, we saw how they dominated the air in Ukraine.
Okay, your turn is over. If you enjoyed, subscribe for more videos. This is Glore.
That was a good watch. That really was a good watch. If there's anything you thought, obviously I'm not 100% educated in all this. This is just my general thoughts watching it and piecing together what I know, just as an everyday average American citizen. So if anyone has more knowledge and wants to expand upon anything that I've said here or have any suggestions, go ahead and leave a comment below. I'm always open for conversation, and that's another big part of these videos. As the identity to this channel expands, I would love to have discourse and have minds speak about things like this. So go ahead and leave a comment in the comment section below. Subscribe if you liked the video. Leave a thumbs up to help support this channel. It's free. And we'll go ahead and catch you guys. Oh, if you want to watch this video and support the channel that we just reacted to, the link will be in the description below. And we'll catch you guys in the next one.